This tension thing, gosh, it is so confusing and it is so hard. I remember when I was right in the middle of this and feeling so much tension all the time, like 24/7 in my relationship. I was just so utterly confused. I did not know why I was feeling so much tension while my partner was actually really sweet. And that made me convinced that this had to do with the relationship and I had to break up. And this was a way of my body telling me that I had to break up. This wasn't right. But I didn't want to break up. So it was this constant like going back and forth. And the tension was a very big reason of why I thought this relationship was doomed, or I had to break up and I was just too chicken to do it. Um, and it had nothing to do with that. So it's so good to know why you feel tension all the time when you have a fearful avoidant attachment style. Because it definitely doesn't have anything to do with your relationship, and it can actually happen even more so um, when you are in a healthy relationship. So why do you feel tension all the time? This is your fear brain, your fear system trying to protect you. Your fear system is just on, it is triggered whenever you are in a relationship, sometimes even when you're not in a relationship. But when you do have a fearful avoidant attachment style, your fear system is very, very activated and easily triggered. So the tension is just a way of your fear brain trying to protect you, because you are always looking for a threat in a relationship. When you were younger, you learned that love is not completely safe, and that could be for a whole variety of reasons. Um, I have a video on the lesser known causes of fearful avoidant attachment style. So it doesn't even have to be that your parents or one parent was abusive or an alcoholic, which definitely can lead to a fearful avoidant attachment style, but there could be way more subtle things that could lead to this. So it could be that your parent could just get angry out of nowhere, or that they had a very hard time with the moment of connection. So whenever that happened, they tensed up, or maybe they even lashed out at you. There are a lot of reasons that you started to associate love and connection and that feeling of connection with threat and with fear. So your fear brain is always looking for that threat. Where is it and how can I prevent it happening? Because when you're that small, when you're a little child, you are completely reliant on your parents, obviously, for survival. So any threat, especially from the one that is supposed to protect you, is like really a fear of death in a way. So that's why it can feel so big and you can feel so powerless around it, even when you're an adult. That's what is triggered. So it's always looking for a threat and a way to prevent it, because that's what you were doing as a child. You wanted to prevent it and you were willing to adapt in any which way. And the thing is that when you are in a healthy relationship, you would say, well, there isn't really a threat, so why do I still have the tension? Doesn't that mean that the relationship is wrong? The way your fear brain works is that it needs to know what is going to happen. It is not very much concerned with you being happy. It is way more concerned with you being protected and surviving. So when you are in a healthy relationship, your fear brain is still associating a relationship and love and connection with threat and fear. And now you are in a relationship where there is no threat, which makes your fear brain all the more panicked, because it thinks it's going to come, but I can't see it coming. I don't know when, I don't know where it's coming from, and that is very threatening. Maybe even more so than when you actually can locate and know where the threat is and you can work on it. So this is why sometimes people with a fearful avoidant attachment style feel safer in a way in a kind of unhealthy relationship, because you know where the threat is. You know what is going wrong. You know what the behaviors of your partner are that are not okay and that are threatening. But your fear brain can zero in on that and can say, that is where the threat is. I just have to manage that. Just have to make sure I prevent that. And then I'll be okay. Then I'll be happy. Then I'll be able to relax. It's not necessarily true, but that's the way your fear brain works. So when you're in a healthy relationship, it can't figure out where the threat is coming from. And that not knowing, that uncertainty, can create a lot of unrest and therefore tension. So it's especially when it's not there that your fear brain is like tense all the time. While when you're in a kind of unhealthy or very unhealthy relationship, it's very clear where that threat is coming from, which sometimes can lead to, when the threat is obviously not there, very obviously not there, you can actually relax. Because your fear brain is like, okay, I know what the threat is and I know it's not there now, so now I can relax. Does that make sense? I really hope it does. So when there's not really a threat in a healthy relationship, your fear brain is just tense all the time because it is convinced it will come. It just doesn't know what angle it's gonna come from. So it's just kind of like looking for it all over the place. And when it can't find it, it will go inward into your feelings and your emotions around this relationship. It's like, okay, there's nothing wrong in the relationship, but I still feel this tension. Something is off, something is not right. So it must be the fact that I don't feel enough for this person. I'm not in love enough. I'm not attracted enough. So you kind of start looking for the threat inwards. So that is the first reason. The second reason is you want to be close, but you don't want to be too close. This is a very typical thing for the fearful avoidant attachment style. You want to be in a relationship. You actually crave the intimacy and the closeness and the warmth and the love, but you also associate it with fear and pain and rejection, and so you don't want to get too close, which means you are managing all the time the proximity of your partner, the emotional proximity of your partner. So whenever he or she comes too close, that's threatening to your system. But when they are getting too far away, that's threatening to your system. So there's like this gray zone, and sometimes it's a very narrow gray zone where you kind of feel okay when they're not too close, but they're not too far away. And you're trying to manage them being in that gray zone all the time, or your emotional connection being in that gray zone all the time. So it's not too far away, but it's also not like completely surrendering and being really close and intimate. And that, trying to control that and trying to manage that, can actually create a lot of tension in your system, because it's like trying to get a rope to be at the exact good place. I am not explaining this right. I have like an image in my head and I cannot get it across. But it's a lot of effort to manage something being in the exact right spot the whole time. While somebody with a secure attachment is much more flexible in the way that it's okay if your partner is kind of farther away and you're on your own for a little bit, and it's very much okay if they're really close. So there's not this constant tension like, oh, that's too far, oh, that's too close, oh, that's too far, oh, that's too close. So this managing really creates tension all the time. And this also explains why sometimes it's easier to have a relationship with an emotionally unavailable person, because for a fearful avoidant attachment, because you are not the one that's in control of the connection when you have you actually are the one that's in control when you have a relationship with somebody that's emotionally unavailable. So what I mean by that, sorry, it is confusing. I'm going to explain it. When you are in a relationship with somebody that's emotionally unavailable, you have to work for the connection. You have to work for them being close. And that gives you a sense of control. that you know. So you know what to do to get that connection, and whenever you don't do that, there typically won't be a connection because that person is emotionally unavailable, which is kind of like relaxing to your fear brain because you know what to do and not to do to have the connection or not have the connection. When you have a healthy relationship, that person is open and committed and is open to the connection pretty much all the time. So that means you don't have to work for the connection. It can be there all the time, which makes it really hard for you to, again, manage how close or how far away they are. And you have to do it through using different kind of mechanisms, activating and deactivating strategies. So you have to do things to kind of like get them closer, but not too close, but also use things to make sure they move away again. But the fact that you are the only one that decides whether there's an emotional connection or not can cause a lot of tension and a lot of stress, because you feel like you have to surrender, and a part of you wants to surrender, but then another part of you doesn't want to surrender. So there's a control issue in that too. Then the third one is, as a fearful avoidant, it's mostly so that you feel like you can't surrender to the relationship or to just feeling good in general, or just relaxing in general, because you're afraid something bad will happen. There's this sense of impending doom when you think about just surrendering and enjoying the relationship and enjoying yourself. You are actually afraid to be safe, which is so freaking confusing, and which creates that tension the whole time, because that is your fear brain's way of keeping safe. Like, I have to be on all the time. I have to pay attention all the time, because otherwise something bad will happen. And most of the time you don't even know what it is exactly, but it's just this dark cloud hanging over you. And when you surrender, something bad is going to happen. That's like the belief you have that's under this. So that means that that tension is actually serving you in a way, because you feel like you are paying attention, and you will prevent it in a way, which is not true, but that's how your fear brain thinks and works. The fourth one is that you are afraid that if your partner, come too close, that they will find something about you that they will reject or leave you for. And you could be with the most loyal, loving, committed person that tells you you are amazing every single day and I will never leave you, and follows it up with action, like being there for you every single time. And there still is this little voice or this part of you that just is convinced that if they come too close, they will find something to reject. And this especially creates tension in healthy relationships, because when you have a partner like that, that's just amazing and that's just super loyal and committed, you're like, well, if they are gonna find something and reject me and leave me, I will be alone forever. And that is something your fear brain does not want you to deal with, which makes you kind of keep them always at a certain distance. And sometimes you let them get a little bit closer, but a lot of times you push them away again, because you're so afraid that they will find something out. And that idea of, when they figure this out, when they find that one thing, and you might not even know what it is, they will leave, that creates tension all the time. Every moment you have like a beautiful moment, or every time you're like relaxed, that nagging feeling will come back. Like, they will find something they reject. So you keep parts of yourself hidden, which in and of itself creates tension, because you're like managing what the other person sees all the time. But that nagging feeling definitely creates tension and fear, that they will find something out, that they seem unconditional, but you are just so not used to completely unconditional love that your fear brain is like, no, this can't be real. They will find something, and I just have to make sure they won't find it, because then they will leave me, and then I will be alone forever. Because if they can't live with me, they can't love me fully, nobody can. That's such a hard thing to live with. So the fifth and last one is, and there are definitely more, but these are 5 reasons, is you are constantly looking for perfection, because your fear brain is convinced that in perfection you find safety and security. Like, if you are perfect, if your relationship is perfect, if your feelings are perfect, then you'll be safe, then everything will be all right. So you keep looking for that perfection whenever you don't feel attracted to your partner, whenever you don't feel like being with your partner. You're like tense because you feel like you have to, because otherwise you're not making the right choice, and then you might be leading them on, and then you might have to break up and you don't want to, so then you're a bad person for not breaking up with them. And that creates so much tension, the stories you connect to not being perfect. And trying to be perfect and have everything perfect definitely is a trauma response, and is a survival mechanism, because you felt so unsafe as a child that you feel like perfection is the only way to really be safe. But love has nothing to do with perfection. Love does not require perfection, and perfection is not love. So it is very stressful to always look at your relationship and think, this is missing, this is not good, they have to do this, they have to do that. You completely give your power away to the relationship, to your partner, to your fear brain that really is trying to protect you but is not looking out for your happiness. So nobody is perfect. People that have really, really happy relationships definitely aren't perfect. Their relationship is not even perfect. Their feelings for each other are definitely not perfect. They come and go, and sometimes they do not like each other. So you don't have to be perfect. Your relationship doesn't have to be perfect. It really is not necessary to have a really happy relationship. But it creates so much tension to always focus on what is wrong and what is missing and what is not right. So these are 5 reasons why you always feel tension as a fearful avoidant in a relationship, and especially in a healthy relationship. And gosh, it is just so exhausting. It is so exhausting when you notice this. I really hope like kind of a weight is lifted, and you can know like, oh wait, the tension really maybe doesn't have to do with my relationship, because it doesn't. It just triggers a lot of things, and you can heal for sure. You can heal this attachment style and become securely attached, and you can heal this never feeling safe, because that's just that the stress your body is under is just really, it takes a lot out of you. It makes you tired. And I wish so much more for you. So if you want to know how to heal a fearful avoidant attachment style, I have a video on that. You can watch it, and actually I'm in that video I do an EFT tapping round with you, and it can actually help you already to feel less tense, to feel less stress. So I really hope that will help you. If you want to know the 6 lesser known causes of the fearful avoidant attachment, you can watch the other video. And if you want to do the quiz to find out if you actually are a fearful avoidant attachment style individual, because it's the least well known, it's the least well researched one, so there's a lot of confusion about it, then you can do the quiz that's in the description below. Let me know what you think of this video, if you have any other questions, if you recognize this, and let me know also in the comments what this tension does for you, like how it feels for you, because I just want you to know that you are not alone. You will see that you are not alone. You are not the only one, and you can definitely heal this. As always, you are so completely worthy of love right now, exactly as you are. And I wish for you that you will allow that in more and more and more.